a little bit. Yeah, I absolutely believe it. Because I've had so many experiences, so many. I can tell you, but you're not going to believe me, and you're just going to make fun of me. Well, the earliest thing I can remember was when I was young. I don't know how old I was, probably about 7 or 8. And we were in this apartment complex. I used to have night terrors a lot, so like most kids, and so I used to sleep with a night light on in my room, and I always wanted the door open to my room open and a light on outside the door too. And that's how I slept. One night I was deep asleep, and then I started to kind of hear like some like really harsh, weird, deranged sounding whispers. And I looked up from my covers and I saw a figure in my doorway, and it looked like my mom. It looked exactly like my mom, and she was like pacing back and forth in the doorway, just muttering, just really angry, and just looking down and just really upset, just really, really angry. And I guess she suddenly became aware of me there, and then she like started looking at me and started screaming like mean, terrible things to me, like, you know, you should never be born, you should never been born, you're the worst thing that's ever happened to the world, like all this really terrible stuff. And as a kid, I was just like, but I knew that this wasn't my mom. Her face it looked like my mom, but it was like contorted in this demonic, ungodly rage. And she also didn't have any feet. She was just floating there. It sounds ridiculous saying it now, but it was so scary then. She just kept screaming things at me and shouting at me, and my sister was right across the hallway, and my real mom was like very Coraline of me. My real mom was just like not too far away either. It's an apartment complex, so it's our apartment, so we're not that far away from each other, you know. So I was like, I can't believe no one can hear this thing screaming at me. So like most kids do, I tried to hide underneath my blanket, and she kept screaming at me. It didn't stop. I thought maybe, you know, if it could see me and I could see it, then it would go away. No, it kept screaming at me, and I was so scared and so terrified. And I realized that there was nothing, that it wasn't going to stop. So I decided, very brave of me, to get up and run past it into my sister's room that was like right across the hallway. So I get up really quickly and I run past her, and I get to my sister's door and I turn around to see if it's still there, and it like slowly pivots towards me and goes, "You're not safe anywhere." And I was like, I hopped in the bed with my sister, and I was like, "Jazz, is it okay if I sleep here tonight?" night. She hated when I did that because then I slept like an MMA fighter. I'm just like punching people left and right while I was asleep. Yeah, that happened. The next day I woke up in my sister's room. I told her everything. She didn't believe me. I told my mom, my real mom. She thought it was hilarious. I'm just like, okay. Well, there's that. What do you have to say about that? I knew it. I knew it. Okay, I have another story. Okay, so a little bit after that, maybe a couple years or so, maybe like 4 years. Well, so we move into this house, right? And it has like huge vaulted ceilings, and you can there's like floor to ceiling windows in the living room, and yeah, so it was just a really high up roof ceiling. I don't know if I'm drawing a very clear picture, but it was high. Like no normal ladder. You couldn't use a normal ladder to reach the top, or even to change the ceiling fan light in the living room. Like it wasn't gonna happen. We had a birthday party for my little brother, and he was probably about 4 or 5 because we had gotten him a whole lot of like helium. Okay, you heard that one though, right? Yeah, we bought him a whole lot of helium-filled balloons, and we, of course, were not very vigilant at cleaning up after his little birthday party, so we kind of let all of the helium balloons just kind of float, lose their helium and just kind of float and bounce along the ground. And so they had been bouncing along the ground for a while until one of them started floating up into that really high ceiling, and me, my sister, and my mom all were staring at it, just like watching it float up, not having any clue like how it was doing this. And all the other balloons were like still bouncing on the ground, and then my little brother just busts out crying, and we all look at him. We're all like, and he's like, that little boy stole my balloon. What little boy? Just stop. So that happened. In that same house, in my bedroom, I used to sleep with like a Winnie the Pooh like audiobook playing, and I, in the middle of the night it would turn off. I would try and keep it on repeat because it was a CD, and I would just pick one of the CDs and just have it repeat the whole thing, but it would always turn off in the middle of the night. And one night I was told to go to bed because it was late in a school night, and so I went to bed. I go into my room and I end up, drifting off to sleep, but then I hear like a faint click, and a door opened, and I turned and looked, and it wasn't my front door. It facing the wall, and I'm just waiting to see if I hear something else or whatever. And something sits on the bed behind me. It's a twin bed, so weird. Like, there's not that much room. And I feel the bed press down behind me. And I don't turn around. I just freeze. And my mom and sister were still awake. And the next day, I asked my mom if she had came into the room and sat on the bed next to me, and she was like, no, shortly after you left, we went to the store. So you were in the house alone. So, what do you have to say about that? They're pretty wild stories, so I get it. You don't believe me. But it's true. Yeah, something has happened to me as an adult, actually. So, a few things, but the most recent, well, the second most recent thing, I love Estes Park. You've been there. And, yeah, in Colorado. And, I went to, I had a birthday party, like a little gathering up there a few years ago. So it was me and a couple friends and one of my friend's boyfriends, so we all go up there. And the plan was there was a illusionist show up there, and it was in a speakeasy that is in the Stanley Hotel. So we go, and we don't actually stay at the Stanley Hotel because we don't have all that money. We go to the illusionist show. It was amazing, so much fun. We go to dinner at the Stanley, and then I bought some tarot cards at the illusionist show, which I still have today, and they're beautiful cards. I just love them. And then we go our separate ways. I go back to my hotel room, which is in the same because no. Should we go walk around and see what that was? Do you hear that? Stopped. I'm getting freaked out. Yeah, it could just be the stories. Anyways, so I go back to my hotel room, and my friend and her boyfriend also had a hotel at this hotel, but it wasn't close to mine. It was like a little further away. As soon as I walked in after dinner, it felt weird. Like the whole room felt weird. And I immediately thought that it was because I'd been, spending the night doing spooky stuff. Like we went to the illusionist show, I got tarot cards, stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, well, it's probably just me just being creeped out or something. And I take a shower, I get in bed, and when I'm in bed, now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably because of all the past ghost trauma in my bed with me. But now when I sleep with the blankets over me, and I just figure out how to breathe. And so this night I had the white sheet over my face while I was sleeping, and woke up and I couldn't move. I could only move my eyes around, and on the other side of the sheet I saw this really skinny and really tall shadow figure walk on the side of my bed up to me. It bent over and then moved the sheet back from my eyes, and its face was just a shadowy mess. It was just a shadow situation, but I couldn't move, I couldn't scream, I couldn't do anything. And then it moved back, and then I woke up, right? But it felt like I just blinked and I could move my body again. It didn't feel like I was asleep. It just felt like I blinked in the same exact position I was just in. It was gone. I could move again. It was so weird. Later on, I get into the car with my friends who were also staying in that hotel, and I told them about this creepy, weird dream I had. And as soon as I mentioned a tall, skinny shadow man, my friend, who is a skeptic like you, immediately made eye contact with her boyfriend. And I was like, whoa, what was that about? And she goes, last night, in the middle of the night, I got up to go to the bathroom, and I swear I saw a shadow man standing in the corner, a really tall and skinny shadow man. You still don't believe me? Well, okay, I know you don't believe me, but, do you mind sleeping out here with me instead of in our rooms? Maybe we could just get on the couch.